When you have a $20 million loss, how is there no one held accountable?
The media is back at it again. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, we've got the media once again trying to beautify monsters of society, because that's what they do. We've got the Liberals wasting $21 million. We've got a bunch of stuff. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got Mario posting this story, breaking Doug Ford just lifted the tuition freeze. Here's what's happening. We've got tuition going up 2% a year for 3 years, then tied to inflation. Universities getting $1.6 billion a year on top of $5.4 billion base funding, and OSAP flipped from 85% grants to max 25% grants and minimum 75% loans. As we see from this article here, Ontario lifting post-secondary tuition freeze, boosting funding. Who's this good for? It's good for Mark Carney's banker buddies. That's who. As Mario points out, students pay more, students borrow more, government funds institutions more. This is ridiculous. Why? Liberals have given up on the youth vote. Colleges and universities are already reporting late and missed tuition fees. Doug ensuring it gets worse is typical Doug. Moving ahead, we've got breaking. Russia is considering moving back to the US dollar as part of a wide-ranging economic partnership with President Trump, per Bloomberg. Partnership would include US and Russia working together on fossil fuels, joint investments in natural gas, offshore oil and critical mineral material partnerships, windfalls for US companies, Russia return to the USD settlement system. If finalized, this deal would change the global economy. Interesting things happening here. We also have a clip here from Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary with the US government.
Mark Carney has twice called for reducing the dollar's role as the world's reserve currency. Once in 2019 and then last month at Davos. What threat, in your opinion, does he pose, or does that pose to the dollar's global status?
You know, I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm Irish, and my kids are Americans. I have a foot in both economies. There's a huge opportunity to work out a Canadian U.S. situation to the benefit of both countries in a different way. The problem is, you saw recently Modi got a deal done finally, just days ago. That was done because Modi met with Trump privately. We need this now with Carney and Trump. We're in a bad place. And I'm saying that this makes no sense. And I think the only way to get it fixed, because we know the president is a very transactional individual, and I endorse his policies. I don't get involved in politics. I never made money doing that. I'm a policy guy. What we need here is to deal with everything you just said, is to have Carney or Trump find a place without anybody and no cameras, not a Zelensky type meeting, just the two of them go work it out. And there's so much opportunity because Canada has all the natural resources the largest economy on earth needs right here. And they're right beside each other.
Gentle lady's time has expired.
Could be a win-win for both countries.
It could be. Unfortunately, I don't think Kevin O'Leary realized the politics of this, that Mark Carney wants a majority government to roll out his net zero agenda, and working with Donald Trump does not help that. It actually hurts it. Carney is a Weasley guy who can't have a straight conversation. Trump is a construction guy. This is why they can't talk. It's quite ridiculous they haven't gotten a deal done. I think it's going to take a guy like you, Kevin, to turn the ship around. It's not going to turn around. Carney wants his majority, period. He doesn't care how many Canadian lives he has to destroy to get that majority. I saw this image and this just sums up the situation. The TDS in Canada, where you've got Trump and then you've got liberal voters. They don't look at the situation. It's just Trump is evil. Everything Trump is doing is bad. It's like, forget about Trump. Look what's happening in our country. Look how tied we are with America. Getting a deal is necessary. Otherwise, our country is going to start crumbling, especially if Kuzma gets ripped up. Moving ahead, we've got Health Canada losing $20 million in spoiled drugs after a freezer door was left open. Great work, guys. So we've got incompetent Health Canada getting questioned about this.
When you have a $20 million loss, how is there no one held accountable? You mentioned that publicly. I mean, it's not that we have to publicly punish, but how is no one held accountable?
So through the review process, there was no single individual for whom a reprimand was warranted. There were a number of factors that were at play, including adjustments that were required to some of our standard operating procedures. So no determination was made at the time based on that.
Just my final
plan.
question.
And just to note that the I look forward to the Auditor General's report on this in terms of her findings and any further recommendations she may have for us to
My
pursue.
final question would be,
Further recommendations, wages should be garnished. All the bonuses for the entire department should be absolutely slashed. When it comes down to it, the minister's got to take that one on the chin. Of course, there's no accountability in the government.
can Canadians feel secure in this stockpile now? Can they be secure that if something happens, some emergency happens, that we are ready for them?
Yes, is my short answer. Before the pandemic, we had, 34 employees, about 100 employees now. We, at the time, were investing $5 million per year. Before the pandemic, we are now, this year, to over $220 million in a much more expanded suite of medical countermeasures to be ready for any possible threat that the country could face, for which we are concerned in terms of the risk assessment that we undertake with our colleagues in security.
I think Canada's health system is in trouble with this lady in charge. Have you considered putting an alarm on the door so when it's left open, like there's 20 million worth in there? I mean, my fridge has an alarm on it. If it's open too long, it starts beeping at me. How do they not have an alarm on something worth that much? Moving ahead, we've got some bombshell news here from Conservative Dan Mazier. Breaking news, Parliamentary Budget Officer has confirmed that the federal healthcare program used by rejected and failed asylum claimants is projected to cost Canadian taxpayers $1.5 billion per year. This is far higher than what the Liberals have led Canadians to believe. Conservatives forced an investigation at the Health Committee into interim federal health program. So it goes on to say here, rejected asylum claimants are receiving supplementary benefits like physiotherapy, speech therapy, and home care, while 6.5 million Canadians can't find a basic service of a family doctor. I've had to go get some treatments on my hips and my back. It's $100 a pop for just a few minutes. Meanwhile, $1 billion going out to non-Canadians. This is just so disgusting on every level. Why do Liberals vote for this kind of stuff? You can see here between 2020, 21 to 24 and 25, the cost of the program grew from 211 million to 896 million as both the number in beneficiaries and cost per beneficiary increased significantly. PPO estimates the total will reach 1 billion by 25-26 and raise to 1.5 billion by 29-30. This didn't happen by accident, it happened by decision. Trace the approvals, follow the money, identify who authorized it. It's time to hold individuals accountable for their actions. A government job should not shield anyone from responsibility. Yes, 100%. The number should be zero. No tax dollars to non-citizens in any way, shape, or form ever. Why? Why would we pay for someone who's not a citizen in our country? I mean, heck, citizens don't even get these benefits. Helps to explain the 20 hours I spent at the ER with my wife last week. The media will not report on it. No, they won't. Moving ahead, we've got quite the situation coming from CityNews. Got Kozman posting this. He says this is messed up. Canadian media outlet CityNews is applying beauty filters to make the trans pew-pew character here, Jesse Van Rootseller, which is his real name, look more female. And looking in the comments here, people were looking this up, and this is what the photo is showing now, which is the real one, the unbeautified one. And he's saying that he took this as screen grab from 11 a.m. this morning. So apparently they've switched it now because people caught on to their trick. So I'm going to bring this into Photoshop and just verify. Now, I used to make human heads in 3D for the video game industry for a handful of years. I was a lead artist at Electronic Arts, and that's what I did. I made all the most important sports players' heads like Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby, the very first year he was in the NHL. That kind of dates me. So immediately looking at this, I mean, this is what I used to do every single day. I'd look at a photo of the person and then the 3D model and be like, what is not right about this character? Where is the likeness off? And immediately when I look at this, I'll put it into Photoshop to prove this, but it looks like they've taken the eyes and moved them inwards. They've made the mouth more symmetrical. It flares more on this side than this side. And it looks like they took the right side and made that symmetrical. They added a bit more glow to the skin. Obviously, this is more dimmed down and there's a blue hue to it. And they also made the nose symmetrical and looked like they've tightened it in a little bit. And the eyebrows too. You can see it looks like they've pushed down this flare here and cleaned up this edge here of the eyebrow hair to make it look more feminine. You can also see the hair looks like it's been altered. It's been pushed up and tightened up, made look a little less scraggly. So we're going to bring these in here. We're going to make these the same size first off. Get these exactly the same. I'm going to color correct this just to make it look similar to the other one. That way, when we flip it, it's not too different. They definitely doctored this photo. I'm going to make this a little bit brighter. We'll bring up the midtones a little bit here, and the blacks are a little bit darker. So we flip this now, and it's still got that blue hue. So looking at the two layers here, this is the one that they doctored from CityNews. This is actually worse than I thought they did here. They changed quite a few things. What we did in the video game industry is we would line up at least the nose and then the mouth and then the eyes. And then if you flip it on and off, you would see the things jumping out that are not correct. And then after you do this hundreds of times and make hundreds of human heads, then you can just look at them and see the differences. But if I flip this on and off, look at the eyes here. They actually added eyelashes. They added a specular highlight on the eye, which makes it feel more real. Also, when people cry, their eyes are wet. You get a bigger specular highlight there. It adds a bit of emotion to this. They changed the shape of the eyebrow. So just look at the eyes and I'll flip it on and off. So look at these eyelashes here. They added those in. Unless they had a much higher resolution photo, but even then, you don't see the same specular highlight on these eyes here. So clearly they added that in, because see that white there? That's added in. Not to mention, you can look at the shape. They basically smoothed out the bags here, made it look more feminine. You can see the specular highlight in the tear duct here. That wasn't there, because even if this was from this photo, you would still see the white there, which it's not there. Somebody added that. It also looks like they took the corner of this eye and they pulled it down. Having these angled eyes like that, the more cat eye, is a lot more feminine. And then they also lifted this part of the eye and added the lashes there, which obviously looks more feminine. And then they toned down the shape of the eyebrow here and cleaned up this inner part here, less hair there, which you can see there. On and off, it's jumping out. And the big one here, they added all this hair onto the face. Obviously, that's just added on, right? Like, look at that. It's so obvious. Now, as for the lips, exactly what I said earlier, they basically just they mirrored this side on this side. So they basically just used a brush to just push that in. So you can see this is tapered in now. If you look at the on and off, you can see it flare out. If you look at the corner of the lip there. They also smoothed out the shadow underneath the mouth here a bit. You can see that. They added more of a specular highlight on the chin, the nose, and the cheek, as well as a bit on the forehead. Now, I don't know if the original photo had more photo that went up here, but clearly this is a taller photo that has more pixels to it. And then, as I mentioned before, look at the hair here. It's quite obvious that this is different. You can see they basically repainted the shape. They just stopped it right there. This is a very feminine looking curl of the hair there, where the original one goes way down here. It looks kind of scraggly and messy. So they're not fooling anyone here. This is obviously a doctored photo. And the last thing I pointed out was the nose. You can see they have in fact made the nose look more feminine. They basically pushed in this part and rounded off the bottom here a little bit, because his original nose was a little bit more stout and thick on the bottom here, and they basically thinned that up. Just look at the nose. It just jumps right at you. You can't not see it when you see it flicking on and off. Quite clear they're doctoring the photo here to make this monster look more feminine and appealing to look at. This is disgusting what the media is doing. Oh, and the last thing I want to address is the color. So you can see this is the one I brightened up. It would look similar to this one, but I took the color from the bottom photo, the original one here, and I put it on top as just a color layer, and then this is what you get. So you can see they've actually changed the tint of the color quite a bit. They added blue. Now, blue is a cold color, and it makes this person seem more like a victim when using that color. This is very subtle psychology they're using here. And to play devil's advocate, they could be using blue to indicate this is a deceased person now, but the devil's advocate doesn't make sense when they're already doctoring the photo and making this guy look more feminine. So CityNews has been caught out. They thought they could just sweep this under the rug by quickly swapping out the other photo. Not on my watch. It's not happening. Good on Cosman here for pointing this out, and you can see the original photo now with the dim face, and then just all these slight tweaks makes this guy look so much more feminine. And this is not the first time we've seen this. I mean, just even 2 weeks ago, which somebody has posted right in the comments. Remember, they took this guy and they made him look a lot more handsome, brought in the chin, colored up the face. They beefed up, they don't have it here, they beefed up his biceps and they made his neck thicker. This is disgraceful what the media does. And while we're on the topic here of Jesse, we've got Brian Lilly posting this from the Globe and Mail's report. Jesse Strang, or Jesse Van Rootseller, which is his real name, which was confirmed by his dad. He said he liked to go by Jesse Strang, but this is his real name. Apparently, the RCMP gave back their pew-pews when they took them away originally. It says right here, RCMP said the monster once had a firearms license that expired in 2024. No pew-pews were registered to his name, and the Mounties said they do not yet know who owned the pew-pews used on Tuesday, nor how they were procured. Police had seized pew-pews from the home a couple years ago, RCMP said, but someone in the family successfully petitioned for their return. The pew-pews were given back roughly a month ago, a family member said. Numerous kids have been ended. This can't just be swept under the rug. He also goes on to say in this tweet here, in addition to police visiting the family of Jesse Strang several times on mental health calls, seizing pew-pews and then giving them back, posting videos about this. I can't even say this stuff, but it says a TikTok account using the same profile image under the username Jesse Strang posted multiple videos of the 28-year-old Audrey Hale, who in March 2023 pew-pewed 6 students in Nashville. disgusting. All the signs were there. The police even took away the pew-pews and then they gave them back. Well, this needs a much bigger investigation. It's time to have some real conversations about what's going on. It's time to fix the woke laws in our country.